Howdy, folks. Hope you're all having a good one. Happy New Year, of course, and welcome to another episode of Mingles with Jingles, my first video of 2023, my first video in a week. I only did the one video during my 2 weeks off over Christmas. I was actually quite good this year, but there's all kinds of things that I didn't get done. But anyway, more on that later. So I'm exhausted, by the way. I'm not sure how long this episode of Mingles with Jingles is going to be. Obviously, I was up to sea in the new year last night. My friend Eddie came over. He had to work New Year's Eve, so it was about 9 p.m. before he finished, and he came around. So we had a couple of drinks. I cooked a chili, beef and chorizo. It was actually really good, one of my better chilies. We had a couple of drinks. We saw the new year in. Eddie crashed on the couch, and then, of course, he had to get up and go to work on New Year's Day as well. So I wasn't even up in time to see him leave, but I'm exhausted. But that's no excuse. I have to crack on and get back to work, as I'm sure is the case for most of us. So yeah, 2023. Could it possibly be any worse than 2022? I mean, we've had a bad couple of years, really, haven't we? I mean, 2020 was an utter nightmare, of course, with a pandemic. And then 2021 rolled around and we thought, well, it couldn't possibly get any worse, could it? And then 2022, Putin decided he was going to throw the entire world into chaos, invaded Ukraine. I mean, a kind of good news, bad news situation there, because he thought the whole thing was going to be over in a week, 3 days at best. Meanwhile, the fighting's still going on. Ukraine is doing incredibly well, although obviously not well enough, but way, way better than anybody thought they ever would. Of course, the entire rest of the world is being plunged into a massive recession as a direct result, but I mean, it's difficult to complain too much. I mean, yeah, the world's in a real shitty state. The price of energy's going up. The price of everything's going up. People are losing their jobs. But at least, I mean, for everybody who isn't in Ukraine, it could always be worse because, yes, prices are going up. People are losing their jobs. Massive global recession. But at least we haven't also been invaded by Russia. So there's that. Of course, things could always get worse. Which is, if anything, the last couple of years have taught us that. So, interesting to see what 2023 has in store for us all. Got to keep smiling, I suppose. Anyway. So, yeah, Happy New Year. So, anyway, year in review, I suppose, 2022. YouTube does like to send out these little infographics to its content creators. And I'm having a look at my channel analytics for 2022, and in the last 365 days, I really can't complain. I've received 31.3 million views. Worryingly, that's actually 13% less than in the previous year. Although, in the previous year, there was the kind of pandemic thing going on, which is probably understandable. A lot of people were stuck indoors with nothing better to do than watch YouTube. I've had 6.4 million hours of watch time. That's an awful lot of people with nothing better to do with their time than listen to me burble on about games and complete and utter bollocks. So, not that I'm complaining, I'm very grateful for that, of course. Let's have a look at the rest of my statistics, because sometimes there's some really interesting stuff in there. So, I'm on my channel analytics page in the advanced view, and wow, that's really surprising. My most popular video of 2022, by far, with 234,000 views and 41,000 hours of watch time, was Destroyer, the U-Boat Hunter. Now that's a 31-minute video, and the average view duration was only 12 minutes, but that's still... wow. I never did get around to doing a follow-up video on that. I mean, I promised I would, and then, well, there's a lot of things that I said I was going to do that I never ended up doing. The thing is, though, you've got to be careful about chasing trends like that. Because, I mean, 243,000 views, but only, was it 12 minutes of average watch time on a 31-minute video. You have to learn how to interpret the statistics, because that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to get 240,000 views if I do a second video on the game. I mean, I'm probably going to do it because it's a good game and it deserves more videos, but that feel free to disagree. I mean, I'm no expert on statistics. But that tells me that the game, there was strong word of mouth about the game, or there are a lot of people out there who are quite interested in the idea of that kind of game, And they weren't necessarily my subscribers, but YouTube, they were doing searches to see if videos were on YouTube about this game. And thanks to you lot, basically my subscribers easily getting the first 50,000 views, it got pushed to the top of YouTube's recommendations. Because of the 243,000 views, most people only stopped to watch it for the first 12 minutes. So, like I say, you've got to learn how to interpret these statistics. It doesn't pay to just, chase trends. It can be counterproductive. But I'm almost certainly going to be doing a second and possibly third and fourth, we'll see how it goes, video on that game, because I enjoyed it. And a lot of you certainly seem to as well. So we'll see. What else is interesting here? I'll tell you what's not interesting. The next couple of pages of most popular videos are all World of Warships, which is not really surprising. There is one War Thunder video in there, though. One War Thunder video that in 2022 proved to be even more popular than any of my World of Tanks videos. But then again, when you hear the title of that War Thunder video, this will probably not come as a huge surprise either, because published 10 months ago, it's probably my 20th most watched video of 2022, but it's certainly my most watched War Thunder video in a very long time. It was the KV2 show. So, naturally, you can see, KV2s, why that was a popular video. But I have to go back quite a while to find my most popular World of Tanks video of 2022. It's a couple of pages in, before World of Tanks rears its ugly head on my YouTube analytics report of the most popular videos of 2022, and that was World of Tanks, Drive It Like You Stole It. And honestly, I can't even remember what that was about. It was some French tank, probably, by the sound of it. That received 132,000 views, which, if you put it into perspective, that's probably the average number of views that a World of Warships video gets in its first week and a half, 2 weeks. So, yeah. World of Tanks, it's not what it used to be, is it? Well, you could argue World of Warships isn't what it used to be either. But it's still pretty popular. And I do enjoy World of Warships. I mean, the game is not without its problems, and it's definitely getting worse rather than better, but it's still a good game. Let's have a look at traffic sources. I apologise if this is getting boring, by the way, but it's actually kind of interesting. Of the 31,257,947 views that this channel received over the course of the year 2022, 53% of that was from what YouTube call browse features. So what the hell are browse features? So this is traffic from your home page, your subscription feed, and other browsing features. So basically, my subscribers, you guys. 21% came from suggested videos. So 21% of my views come from people who aren't subscribed, who simply watch a video, and then at the end of the video, they get a "you may also like" suggestion generated by YouTube's algorithm. So YouTube's algorithm is basically responsible for 21% of all the views that I receive, which is pretty big and quite concerning, because nobody really knows how YouTube's algorithm works. So it's not like you can optimize things. I mean, the basic idea is if somebody watches a World of Warships video, there's an excellent chance that one of my videos may then pop up in the suggestions, but why is a mystery. So that's not really something you can work around, is it? And then the numbers really start dropping off. I mean, the big two features are the browse features and YouTube's recommendations. So the act of you subscribing to the channel and, hitting the notification bell and all the other things that all of the proper YouTubers insist that you have to do at the start of every video, all that kind of shit, that is actually responsible for the overwhelming majority of the traffic. But after that, the numbers really start dropping off. For example, my own channel page, all of the time and effort that I put into organising my own page only accounts for 8% of my video views. You'd think it would be higher, but it's not a complete waste of time putting any effort into sorting out your own video homepage, but it does not generate a lot of traffic. Next up is the video search function, which is only responsible for 4.6% of my video views, and also, which is probably understandable, has the lowest watch time related to it. So, people will they'll type a search term into the YouTube search box. 4.6% of the time, that will lead them to one of my videos. but then on average they only spend 8 minutes watching. Again, I suppose that's kind of understandable, and when you stop to think about it, I think it's actually 8 minutes 37 seconds is the average length of time that people will watch a video if they've ended up on it, on my channel at least, from the YouTube search function. And I suppose, I'm guessing, I don't know, this information isn't available, but based on my own browsing habits, anytime I use the YouTube search function to look up a video on a certain subject, I'm just browsing. I don't spend an awful lot of time on each individual video, so the fact that the average view length is actually 8 minutes and 37 seconds might actually be a good thing. But again, I'm just guessing. I don't really know. What is kind of interesting here, and not altogether surprising, I have to admit, somewhat depressingly, I made a big song and dance about how the browse features are responsible for 53% of all of my traffic. Traffic from your own homepage, your home screen, your subscription feed, other browsing features like that. And that's true, it is responsible for 53% of all of my traffic. But you know how YouTubers are always going on about, please subscribe, like, and hit the notification button? Yeah. The notification button was responsible for, are you ready for this? 1.9%. Not even 2% of all of my video views came from people hitting that notification bell. Now, there's a number of different ways you can interpret that statistic. Either because I'm not asking anybody to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell in the way that proper YouTubers are supposed to, so maybe you're not hitting the notification bell. I don't know. It's certainly possible. It's also possible that notifications don't do shit. And I suspect the truth is probably a combination of those two. Well, I don't want to call them facts, but yeah, the truth probably lies somewhere in between. People have suspected for a long time that hitting that notification bell doesn't actually do anything, or does very, very little. Because people have been saying, I'm subscribed to your channel, I do like your videos, I do hit the notification feed, and yet I didn't get any indication that you just put a video up. So, it's just YouTube being YouTube, I suppose. Finally, all the way down the bottom of the list of traffic sources, we have product pages. What the hell are product pages? Well, YouTube isn't particularly helpful. It just says product pages or traffic from product pages, which, well, yeah, I got that. So with a little bit of digging, it turns out that if somebody is selling a product and they embed a link to one of my videos in their product advertising, that can generate a view. Now, I don't know and can't even begin to imagine what products people are selling where they think it's going to improve their chances of getting a sale by putting a link to one of my World of Warships videos. But apparently people are doing it because a view from a product page was responsible for, in the whole of 2022, exactly that, one view. So, I don't know what it was that I helped you to sell, but I hope you made an awful lot of money from it. I suspect not, if it's only generating one view. Next up, YouTube analytics, geography, and this hasn't really changed. The top 4 countries where my videos are watched has basically been the same since forever. The USA, with nearly 40% of all of my views. Then the UK, again, unsurprising, the 2 biggest English language countries in the world watch a lot of English language videos, big surprise there. Germany coming in at number 3, and then Canada at number 4, with Australia at number 5. In descending order, and we're really getting down to like around about 3% of views per country now here. We have the Netherlands, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland, Poland, New Zealand, unsurprisingly again English language speaking countries, or European countries where English is taught as a second language. But then you get places like Romania, Belgium, France, the Philippines, the Czech Republic, India, Austria, Ireland, Switzerland, Hungary, Croatia, Singapore, South Africa. It only gives the list of the first 50. And some of these are small countries, so it's not surprising that they're not going to generate a huge amount of views. It's unsurprising that the USA is in the number 1 spot. Huge English language speaking country, something like 250 million of you. And some of these countries are kind of small. But you do still get some oddities pop up here. I get more views from non-English speaking countries like the Philippines, Romania, and the Czech Republic than I do from English speaking countries like Ireland, South Africa, which is really weird. So I've no idea what's going on there. I suspect it may be possible that all of the views that I'm getting from the Philippines, because I get a lot of views from South Korea as well. I seem to get a lot of views from countries that don't necessarily have English as the first or maybe even second language, but which do have an awful lot of US servicemen stations. So that might have something to do with it. But there's a new feature on YouTube Analytics, or I don't know if it's actually new, but it's certainly something that I've only noticed for the first time. Cities. So which cities are your views coming from? And this was a real eye-opener, because remember, from the Geographics tab on YouTube Analytics, it told me that nearly 40% of all of my viewers were from the USA, followed by nearly 15% from the UK, then Germany, Canada, and Australia. So you would expect that when you go to the Cities tab, that the leading cities in which my videos are watched would all be from the USA. And that is not the case. It's not even close. The number one city where people like to watch my videos, and this probably isn't too surprising, is London, here in the UK. The number two city, you will never guess. By the way, London is only responsible for 1% of my views. Right? Of the 31 million views, people from London in 2022 were responsible for 325,000 views, which, I mean, it's still a lot, but it's only 1% of my total views for the year. But the city in which my videos were the second most popular on the list, that's a horrible way of stringing a bunch of English words together. I hope you understand what I mean. The city in second place, responsible for 182,000 views over the course of 2022, was Sydney, Australia, followed by Melbourne, Australia, and then Brisbane, Australia. The first American city on the list comes in at number 5, and it's New York, responsible for 108,000 views, or about the same average amount of views that a World Warships video gets after a week. But the real big surprise here is the city that comes after New York in 6th place. Now, this city beats out Berlin, Chicago, Toronto, Seattle, Perth, Dallas, Los Angeles, Copenhagen, Houston, Stockholm, Bucharest, Rotterdam, Calgary, Dublin, Adelaide, Vienna, and everybody else. And that city was, you ready for this? Drum roll. I can't actually do a drum roll. But in 6th place, Singapore. Yes, really. No, I can't explain that one either. That I did not see that one coming. So if you're watching this video from Singapore, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy them. And of course also g'day Bruce and Sheila to everybody watching or listening from Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. Now we come on to viewer demographics, as in you guys specifically. And we're talking about viewer age here. And it probably isn't going to come as a great surprise to many of you because, you know exactly how old you are. But the majority of you are a little bit older than the average YouTube viewer. Again, not a great surprise. The kind of content that I feature and I think my presentation style probably caters more to the older audience. But looking at the numbers specifically, YouTube thinks that 1.1% of my audience are aged between 13 and 17 years old. Now, I'm going to take this particular statistic with a very, very large pinch of salt. I mean, for a start, since the whole Children's Online Privacy Protection Act thing that basically killed children's videos on YouTube overnight, by default, my videos are all ticked as being not suitable for children. Because if I didn't, then I wouldn't be able to run advertising and make a living out of them. But they're generally not suitable for children anyway. So when YouTube throws a statistic at me like that, where it says that only 1.1% of my audience is aged between 13 and 17 years old, I'm not entirely surprised, but I also think that that's just not true. I think the number is probably not a lot higher, but certainly a bit higher. Because, the age bracket tells you something straight away, 13 to 17. So obviously 18 being the age of majority in most countries, although in some countries it's 21, for example. But yeah, why the 13? Because you're not supposed to have a YouTube account if you're under 13 years old, again, due to children's privacy and protection laws. Does that mean that nobody under the age of 13 is watching YouTube videos? No, of course it doesn't. You just do what anybody would do under those circumstances when you create a YouTube account. You lie about your age. So I think that it's accurate that honest children between the ages of 13 and 17 only account for 1.1% of my viewers. But what about all the dishonest ones who lied about their age so they can enjoy all the good shit on YouTube? Yeah, it's probably a little higher, but it's still, statistically insignificant number. because the majority of you are a lot older. There's a huge jump when it comes to the 18 to 24-year-olds. 19.1% of you claim to be aged between 18 and 24 years. That's right, yes, Akazuki, by the way, it's her birthday soon. She's going to be 4, although she's not allowed to watch my YouTube videos, are you, Akazuki? Yeah, she's sulking about that right now. She wanted to watch one of my Cyberpunk videos, and I said, no, there's boobies in it. It's not for young kiddies, so she's not talking to me right now. But anyway, moving on swiftly. Where were we? Let's get back to the view. Yeah, here we go. 18 to 24-year-olds, 19.1%. The next bracket, and the biggest bracket responsible for most of my viewers, are the 25 to 34-year-olds, responsible for 31.2%. Honestly, I was expecting the 35 to 44-year-olds to be the biggest bracket. And they're still pretty big, probably bigger than most, with 21.5%. Followed by the 45 to 54-year-olds. This would be the bracket that I fall into. What are you doing, Akazuki? You know I'm trying to do a video here. She doesn't give a shit. Pet me. Pet me. Yes. I need scratches. Yes, I know you need scratches. How about the back scratch? Yes, those are the good scratches. How about the neck scratch? Oh, you like the neck scratches. You're going to be quiet now so I can do the YouTubes. Of course she isn't. Oh, no, she's off. She's off for a sleep. She's going to get some important cat business done. She's interrupted the video. She's had her scratches. She's happy. She's done her job. I love that cat so much. I've forgotten where we were. Does it matter? Is it important? Oh yeah, viewer age demographics. For anybody who cares, those of you out there who fall into my age bracket, the 45 to 54-year-olds, are responsible for 15.3% of my viewers, followed by the 55 to 64-year-olds, 8.7%, and anybody, you know, the really old and decrepit, silly old sods who are 65 years old or higher, 3.3%, which is still 3 times as many as the 13 to 17-year-olds. I think it's fairly safe to say that my viewers, you guys, you fall into the older age demographic. And that's, again, probably not surprising because I do too. And I think the kind of videos that I do in my presentation style probably appeals to people who have a bit more going on between the ears and are definitely slightly more advanced in years. Which, when you stop to think about it, it could actually be a problem for the long-term health of the channel because, you know, there ain't none of us getting any younger. My viewers are all dying off. Which I suppose is a fairly morbid way of looking at it, but yeah, it's a fact. Then again, I probably don't have that much longer left as well, so, you know, how much of a problem is it, really? Yeah, anyway. So, yeah, 2023, we're all a year older. Hopefully, we're all a year wiser, although looking at the current state of the world, I sincerely doubt it. But I'd like to wish you all a very happy, prosperous, and hopefully safe new year, and equally hopefully, and somewhat selfishly, many, many more to come. Particularly those of you from London, Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, and for some strange reason, Singapore. But a very happy new year to you all from me, Akazuki, and Juicy. Take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.